Good morning. Welcome our Remax family of offices to another think tank. My name is Olivier Lewis, broker owner of the Cranford office. So if we haven't met yet, please connect with me on social. If you're watching this, as I've mentioned in the past, I need the feedback. It definitely gives me more energy to keep these going and get more interaction going with the crowd and audience, whether here or on social media, whether it's Facebook or YouTube. So please comment, like, any questions. Please chime in and participate. So quick thank you to everyone that attended our top agent panel. It was a great event, well over 100 attendees. So thank you for everyone that made it out to hear from three great agents from three different markets, which was a really cool event. Carl and I's favorite event to host every year. Also, very excited about our next office meeting, which is going to be Tuesday, October the 4th. That's going to be Tuesday, the October the 4th in Forest Gate, and it's going to be a combined meeting with all of the offices. So it's really great to unpack what's going on in the market, any changes in the company. So we're really excited to bring everyone together for that. And one last event coming up before I get into the think tank. Super excited to host our next industry event, which is going to be October the 12th in Garwood, which is up in Union County, very close to the Cranford office at the Westwood. And Michelle Gibson will be running that. And it's going to be on luxury sales and raising your price point. So very excited about those two things coming up in October, and plenty of other more events and trainings that we will be covering. So with that, I'm going to jump right into today's think tank, which is on cold calling basics. So this month's theme has been listing. So we're going to get into cold calling, whether you're calling expireds, for sale by owners, or circle prospecting. Let's talk about some cold calling basics. So if you guys have anything that worked for you out there, please chime in, share, participate, let us know what's working, whether it's systems, scripts, angles, or just different people you're calling or finding that work. Please let us know. And here, please give us some feedback of what's working. So I think number one thing with cold calling is consistency. You have to be consistent. It's not try it for a week or try it for a couple of days and see if it works. It's a consistent thing. So there's a couple of you in here. If I gave you guys a basketball and put you on a basketball court, do you think you'd hit your first free throw attempt? No, right? But if you took 100 shots, do you think you'd hit a couple?
Yeah. Sure.
That's cold calling. You're not going to call and get a for sale by owner or expired or circle prospect and get a homeowner on the line and expect to land the first call, right? But sometimes that's our expectation. And when we don't get the immediate results, we say, oh, this thing doesn't work. But the more consistent you are, the better at it you'll get. And it's it's metrics, and the opportunity will propose itself where you can convert someone, but you have to follow the metrics and follow the numbers. It's a numbers game. The more calls you make, the more people you talk to, the more pitches you make, of course. The more pitches you make, you're obviously going to close more. But you have to follow the numbers and be consistent, and you will get better at it. So that's a big thing. People try it out for a week or 2 weeks, kind of like gym memberships at the beginning of the year. In January, everyone's New Year's resolution, rah, rah, rah. I'm going to sign up. Planet Fitness is $10 a month. Great. And guess what? After 2-3 weeks, they lose the consistency, right? They don't see the results. They disrupt their routine by trying to shock their system and, say, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. You can't go from making no calls to 100 calls a day. Most people can, rather, right? Don't shock your system. Don't block out 3 hours a day to start cold calling. Take baby steps. Build up to it. If anyone saw my basketball video this weekend that I posted, that was my first attempt at a dunk on such a high rim. And in all fairness, I definitely got butterflies in my stomach by jumping so high, right? But my next attempt, I'll definitely land that. You just have to practice. It needs to be consistent. So that's number one. Number two, go in the mindset. You're not going to convert everyone. Don't get bummed out You will get hung up on. You will get told more no's than yeses. Don't go in the mindset that it's a wasted call or you're not good or this doesn't work because you can't convert everyone. That's not the game. In baseball, you're a superstar if you're batting, what, 30%? If your batting average is 30%, is that right? I'm not the biggest sports guy, but that means 70% of the time, if you fail, you're a superstar in baseball. Think about that. It's not about closing every lead or opportunity. You do want to close as many as possible. You want to get better at it. But if you have that mindset, you'll be able to withstand and have the tenacity to keep going after you get the multiple no's. I've witnessed agents after several no's, they just get deflated and beat up and they walk away from it. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. That doesn't mean everyone's going to say no forevermore. It's just you have to keep going till you find the yes. So go into it with that mindset. And last but not least, you got to build rapport, take notes, and it's follow-up. It's not always the first time you're going to close them. It's the second, third, fourth conversation and following up, especially with the FSBO. You call a FSBO week one, they're on cloud nine because they're getting 30 calls from realtors. Buyers are randomly calling. Nosy neighbors are calling. But you get them on week 4, 5, or 6, different story, right? They're frustrated. They haven't sold, and you're following up, and that's sometimes how you convert them. Same thing with expireds. Property expires today, they're getting 8, 9 calls. 8 or 9 calls, right? But if you consistently follow up with them, that's when you're sometimes going to convert them. It's not the first call, and we look to get the immediate results. So keep that in mind as well. And let's jump into some of my best practices with calling for sale by owners, expired, circle prospecting. One, I don't love scripts. I know a lot of people use them. And if you Google for sale by owner scripts, expired scripts, there's going to be a bunch of Tom Ferry scripts, et cetera, that come up. That's great. But I think everyone's using the same kind of scripts and you sound scripted, just like when the solar companies call me or the PSE&G alternate plan companies call me. I can tell the script from the first sentence that they say. And right away, I'm turned off. And I'm just thinking, how am I getting off the phone? When can I interrupt and say, no, thanks, right? So don't sound scripted. Don't sound like you're reading a pitch. Don't sound like you're calling from the boiler room. Have questions. Questions are key because it tells you where you need to take the conversation. His challenge may not be your challenge. It may not be your challenge. But if you're talking about this, I'm the best marketing person, that may not be what they're looking for. If you're talking over here that I charge 4.5%, 5%, I save you money, money may not be their problem, right? It could be convenience. It could be time. It could be the process because they have to find something. They're nervous they can't, right? So your commission doesn't matter if they think they can't find something. So find out what their challenges are by asking questions. So I have some questions here I can cover. I'll go through them quick, but if anyone wants, just shoot me an email. And these are just general questions I came up with. I'm sure you guys out there and the guys like you, Evan, that cold call consistently have a bunch more. But let's start with expired listings. I'd ask some questions like, are you open to receiving offers? Would you entertain offers? Did you get offers while it was listed before? If we could generate an offer for you, what are your plans when the house gets sold? What's your time frame to move? Can we meet so I could show you a plan of how I can get you sold and moved in that time frame? Why do you think the house didn't sell? What's the most important aspect of the sale of the home to you? Is it price, process, time frame, etc.? How many showings did you have when it was listed? What was the feedback from buyers? What concerns do you have? Why haven't you relisted the property? What are you looking for in your next realtor? And some other questions for FSBOs. Are you open to working with a realtor? If I can get you a price, if I can net you your number and my commissions on top, would you be open to working with a realtor? What's more important to you in the sale of your home, the price, saving on commission, or the net that you receive in your pocket? If I could demonstrate to you that the numbers could work and I could net you more, would you be open to allowing me to help you? When you purchased this home, did you work with a realtor? I love that one because 9 out of 10, maybe 9.5 out of 10 worked with the realtor. So that's an easy one to lead them to. Well, all buyers are working with realtors for the most part. How was your experience working with the realtor? Have you ever sold a home before? How was that experience? Do you think selling a home is easy or hard? How did you come up with the value of your home? How much negotiation do you believe goes into the sale of your home? Are you prepared to negotiate with the home inspector, the appraiser, the town officials for your CO, et cetera, and the other attorneys? Who's representing you in those negotiations? Do you believe you're reaching all the buyers looking for a home like yours? What's your time frame? What are your plans if you don't get it sold? So those are some of the questions to ask. There's obviously more. If anyone has some questions that they asked that really work, please put them in the comments. You guys have anything you asked or anything that works that you want to share?
Nothing different, really. Those are really useful, though.
Yeah.
And pulling them out in random parts, not just reading down the list of questions. That's the key. You fill out the conversation, see when and what fits where. That's really where you engage them.
Correct. You have to make it conversational. Very good point. Thank you for sharing that. Don't have your questions in front of you and turn your questions into a script. Oh, wait, sorry, I got off track. I got to go back to the other question. Like, don't do that. Have it conversational. Ask them a question and then go deep. You want to get them talking because they will in turn tell you everything you need to know. And then you can cater your approach to what their challenges are, what their needs are. So ask a question and then go deep into that question, their answer. The more you get them talking, the better it is for you, right? So some resources to follow up, send them comps, send them the RPR, send them the Oprah request form for their town, right? Sellers, we can tell them that they should get it. Send them 1 or 2 lenders, on follow-up. Because part of the hard part is you have that initial conversation. Now, what do you say on a follow-up? So you call a FSBO and you say, well, John, I'm going to give you 2 of my lenders. They're great. John's going to say, well, Olivier, why are you giving me lenders? I'm selling my house. Well, if you get an offer, how are you going to vet that the pre-approval is real? And they weren't online saying that they have great credit, make $100,000, hit print and print it out this pre-approval for you. Because there are some sites where you can just put that information in and spits out a pre-approval. My guys tell you it's a go, it's a go. So at least you can vet them and make sure it's real. So you're not spending time, resources, hiring an attorney, starting attorney review to find out later they don't qualify, right? It's just another thing to follow up with. Pre-home inspection, send them your home inspector. Hey, you want to get ahead of things so it doesn't blow up, right? That GFI doesn't work, you can fix it. Home inspector finds it, they're going to ask for a licensed electrician to fix it. So my inspectors gives preferential pricing to my clients, give them a call, right? It's just one other thing to use to follow up. Send them the CO application. Hey, you're going to need to get ahead of this. Here's what the requirements are. Is your home up to code? Right? So there's a lot to follow up with. There's a great booklet if you want to invest. It's about $1 each. 101 ways to prepare your home for sale. You can customize it, get your photo on there. It's a really cool booklet. I suggest investing in if you're going to go down this road. That's another great follow-up tool. It brands to you, but definitely you need some ammunition to follow up with and not just, hey, here's the home sold. So offer something of value, make a deposit in that relationship, then you can make a withdrawal and really get their business. Systems, Vulcan 7, Mojo, Cole Realty Resources, LandVoice, RedX. There's a ton of systems out there. Don't go investing in the systems until you have the problem of needing the systems. Agents will spend money on tools and say, I'll start cold calling when I get the dialer. Then they get the dialer and then they'll start cold calling because they didn't have the process, the consistency, and the habits. So make the calls, and then you have the problem of, I need to make more calls, invest in the tools. But that's it on cold calling basics. Any questions, feedback? No? So, go ahead.
Sorry. So I did try cold calling with my mom a week ago, more, I can't remember. But pretty much the guy was responsive.
Okay.
He liked the fact that we knew his name.
Okay.
And we didn't refer to him as the senior because there was a senior listed as well.
Okay.
We had conversation. He said, let's meet if you wanna talk more, meet up with me. Basically, we did at like a local restaurant or whatever.
Kudos. You got an appointment. That's great.
Yeah, it's like an improv appointment. Yeah, we just ran there. When we were there, it was kind of hard to navigate the conversation
Okay.
because the environment was very casual.
Okay.
And it seemed like he wanted to build rapport first,
Yeah.
like get to know us.
He's interviewing you.
Right. So we did that. But essentially all the properties that he had like 3. But all the properties he had, they were kind of already working with an agent.
What do you mean by 3? Were they comps?
So no, so it was his parents' property that could have been a listing, but they weren't interested in selling right now.
Okay.
Then he knew the neighbor who was an older lady,
Okay.
not interested
Okay.
at the moment because of COVID or something.
Okay.
Then there was a sister property, his sister's property, but they already had an agent and it was under contract but fell out.
Okay.
So it's kind of like he had these properties, but he was waiting for us, I don't know, to kind of see what to say next. But then the ones that he was, like the sister property,
Yep.
he was pitching it to us, but it was already with an agent. So we're sure like what his motives were, like we're sure how to go from there because
I would figure out the timeline of the parents' property, the neighbor's property, of when are they looking to sell. The neighbor you mentioned might be COVID. Well, through COVID, we've sold plenty of homes, right? And it's, thank God, dying down in the sense that the deaths are down and it's safer and we have protocols around it. So I would get the contact information for the neighbor and say, hey, we have protocols around COVID to make things safe. We could limit showings. We could go back to requiring masks for those visits, booties, gloves, whatever you need, we can accommodate so you feel safe. We can, you want to limit showings to 2 days a week and then you disinfect afterwards. So I think that that's something you can overcome, but I think you have to get in touch with the neighbor and not go through him, right? Like
that's
cut
what
out the
he was
middleman.
basically saying too. He's like, you gotta like figure it out. Basically.
Get the neighbor's contact info. And then with the parents, figure out what's their next destination. Why are they considering selling? If you could figure out the why, you could push that button. So I would figure out why they're considering selling. What's the motive? Where are they planning to go? What's their timeline?
And then the one that was like with the agent, that's the one who kind of seemed like he was trying to push onto us.
Yeah.
But we weren't sure how to navigate that because it's already listed.
You can't solicit it, but I would get the address, get the info, and look at the expiration date. What if it expires at the end of this month or next month and they don't get a contract, right? As things slow down because of the seasonality a little bit for certain markets, and buyer demand slightly slowing down, if it does for certain markets, it may sit. It may sit. So look at the expiration date. You can't solicit it, but look at the expiration date. If it's close to expiring, you can definitely tell him to pass your information along, have the sister call, get their information, and wait till it expires. If the sister calls you, you could have a general conversation. You're not supposed to coach them of getting out of the listing, but look at the expiration date and see how much time is left on there. So I think it's 3 different plans of actions on each of these properties. Definitely the neighbor, get their information and go direct and have a conversation about how we navigate through COVID. And then again, find out their hot buttons, where are they going, and push that. Talk about that. Get them excited about the destination, because no one wants to be excited. No one gets excited about packing boxes, cleaning up their house, getting it shown. Like, that's not exciting, but the next home and why they're moving is the exciting part, usually, as long as circumstances are good as far as why they're moving. But I would have a conversation, explain COVID protocols, talk about how many thousands of homes have sold, hundreds of homes in whatever town that is have sold through COVID, and there's safe protocols. Talk to the parents about where they're looking to go, and that you could help them with that and figure out their timeline, and maybe that could nudge them to move forward. And then the one that's listed, You just got to figure out when it's expiring, and if it doesn't sell, then you have an angle and you can go after it. All right, cool.
Thank you.
So that is it. I'm going to wrap up today on cold calling basics, and I will see you guys next Tuesday for the next think tank. Thanks everyone. See you soon.